Since 1970, only 5 teams made the playoffs. Focus and concentrate out there today, and you're 1 game away from being team number 6. Is that clear? Yeah! Now let's do it!
My focus was to do an entertaining hour of television, and to do that you have to have dramatic issues, and in that world, that is going to include some of the controversial issues that players encounter. I knew that a lot of shows about sports had not done well in the past, and my focus was on, well, what would make a show with a backdrop of sports entertaining? You couldn't do a rose-tinted glasses look at the world of sports. I don't think anyone who's a sports fan would have believed that, and I think that, and additionally, I don't think anyone who watches television would have found it entertaining.
When I started working on the material, the script by John Eisendrath, who's a very talented writer, you knew it stood out. You read it, you knew it was something unique. Oh, the only thing we could do is screw it up.
Coach.
Later.
Oh, okay. But Coach,
This better be important.
it is. I think it's Harris. He's back.
Too late. He sits.
My wife, of 23 years, she got the script first. I left it on my desk, and she said, "Oh my God, this is a great script. You got to read this." And I said, "Isn't that about football?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "But not really." She goes, "It is, but it isn't." She goes, "I think you'll like it." So I picked it up, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good."
Who's gonna run good?
You.
How many yards? How many TDs?
2.
All right.
It wasn't the football, and it wasn't really sports. I think for me, it was to do a show about guys, and that was what was most appealing, to do a show about the relationships that men have with each other, their friends, their family, their parents, their kids. And to me, that is why I always thought the show, while it was great that the football was a backdrop, it could have been almost any backdrop from that perspective, and it would have been equally interesting.
This is the locker room. This is the real locker room. This is how we get down. This is where we get gritty. You gonna meet my man. This is Will Banks right here. Y'all know the cat right there. Say what's up.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Everybody's here. These are the crew people. These are the people that make it happen. I'm not the one that makes it happen. There's this crew. There's this cast. There's these footballers. They in better shape than I am. You know I'm just an actor, so
He's all right.
This group is incredibly talented. And you get lucky. I guess you choose well, but you also get lucky. You didn't know that all the actors would mesh so well together, that they would become friends, all of them, that they would be that kind of feeling that I think then translates to the screen. Jason came in and wanted this role, and here was a guy who had some hair, he was too thin, he just didn't look right.
His acting impressed, but his look hadn't, and that going for, obviously, they're supposed to be football players.
For the next 2.5 weeks, he was on a 5,000 calorie, buff, a completely different man.
When we were auditioning for the part of DH, we auditioned a lot of real players who played in the pros and who in many ways were this person. When Omar Gooding came in, he had this inherent likability, and there was an ease with which he did these not very nice things that made you sort of like him.
Yeah, let Phil know. Phil. Uh-huh.
He can't go. He ain't
Kobe
going.
can't go? Call Big O. Yeah,
call.
baby.
We got to see
Yeah,
it.
baby. Call Big O, baby. That's all I'm saying. Tell us all up in here. All up with the crook and that's
There was a
right.
debate about, well, is Omar too likable? Are you not going to believe that he's this person who does these disreputable things? And I think wisdom prevailed in that we went with someone who I think really you felt for as well as you sort of went on the ride with him.
You hear that? That's the sound of you lying to me. Tyreek called. Let me know if I was down with y'all playing. Let me know it was your brother who went to the cops. Making me believe you stepped up when you hadn't done shit. I told you I wouldn't roll on.
Cello came in and auditioned. I hadn't really thought about whether Buffalo, who always made me laugh, and I mean the character and just the idea of having him, this likable, trusting guy whose best friend is a dislikable, untrustworthy guy. I always thought was a really cool dynamic, but I had never really thought, well, okay, he should be a regular, I don't know. And then Marcello came in, and immediately the character went from someone who was like, well, I don't know, I guess he'll be in a few episodes, to being the first guy cast.
Yeah, that's how we do it before a scene. You know, guy looks sweaty, you know, big sexy gotta be sweaty, you know, that's how we do it. So, looks better that way. Get a picture on them arms right there, man.
It helped focus the show on the thing that I thought was most important, which was male friendships. Because I think guys are incredibly forgiving with their friends, they're incredibly loyal, and they will forgive pretty much almost anything. And that relationship is the one relationship that, more than any other, I think, dramatized that fact. Russell was tough to convince to do the show. I mean, you know, he had done more than a lot of the other actors, and he'd had more experience.
Russell took a huge cut in pay. He was already a leading guy. He looked at the script and said, I can't turn it down, I don't care. I want to join. Everybody thought he was crazy.
I'm just a squirrel trying to bust a nut. That's all he does.
He's a very disciplined actor, and it was toward the end of our production shoot an undisciplined process because I'd fallen so far behind and the scripts came out so late, and I think it was difficult on all of them, and I know that it was particularly difficult on Russell, who processes the work that he does very thoroughly in advance of doing it, and then here we were giving him 10 pages saying, here, you have like 4 minutes to memorize it. So he did a great job, and I'm sure it was under a great deal of duress.
It's been hella fun, man. I mean, that's, you know, the thing about it is, what in life can you get paid? You can't get paid nothing, this much money in life doing anything else, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, you get to do what you love to do, you know what I mean? You get paid to do it. Ain't nothing better than that, man.
I know it's not what you want, but you're 28. You've got a lot of time. I'm 26. My career's half over. Hell, by the time we're both in our 40s, I'll probably be working for you.
It was funny because I remember thinking at the time, well, that wasn't really a smart thing to come in and say because McConnell wasn't going to be a real character on the show, so why would you want to come in and read for him? And all we really had was an audition scene. It wasn't in the pilot because there was nothing for him in the pilot. He had like 3 lines. So an audition scene was written, and it was based on that Chris imagined that there would be a lot more to come. Intuitively, he was right, and then you needed the character of the quarterback to take some central position on the show that he evolved into one of the most important players on the show. We auditioned a lot of people for the role of the coach. The cliched coach, the coach you've seen 10,000 times, the one who is just like totally like apoplectic 99% of the time, and some of the way I had written it, it was really easy to, you know, read it that way, and so there was a lot of like people who I thought were going to have like an aneurysm, like auditioning for that part. And Tony had a more sort of understated authority to him. He came in and I sort of felt like he was someone who guys would listen to and would be loyal to. It was sort of his ability as a guy that I thought other men would follow that was really appealing.
All right? First time.
But to the cops.
You always won't worry that once it gets out of the drawer and on the air, it's going to suck, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, I just wish it had stayed in the drawer because, you know what, I really can't do this. And so for that, you know, in that it turned out well, I mean, that is just a complete, you know, gift, that it turned out well because all these people who worked so incredibly hard on it. And whenever you see something that you imagined, and suddenly there are all these other people, and they're like actually like making it happen, and they're making it in a way that is far better than you could have ever imagined, you're like, wow, that's pretty good.
No doubt.
It was as good as it could be by being on ESPN because they really platformed it in a way that was great, and that they put it in the consciousness of the sports fan in America in a way that only ESPN has the ability to do.